entrepreneurship. Please join me in giving a warm round of applause to Ms. Yip Ta, as we are honored to have you with us, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay. So maybe before I get started, would anyone in the audience or from the team mind to share me what session we are at in the boot camp? How has it been going so far? What have you learned already? Why are you here? Just so we have some little bit of context.
This bootcamp is a very basic Web3 development or the Solidity development bootcamp. Currently, we have covered some basics regarding Solidity. Maybe in the future days, we'll be covering development of dApps. Along with these bootcamp sessions, we also have the keynote sessions from the people working in Web3 and the blockchain. So that is it so far.
Okay, that's extremely wonderful. And the students, are you already like familiar with the Web3 space and just learning the technical parts of it? Or is it like somewhat new to you?
Yeah, actually, it's a mix. Okay, most of them are new. Okay, very few of them has a little bit idea of Web3.
Okay. That's extremely wonderful. So I feel extremely honored to be invited to speak to you in India. I am in Munich right now. We are in a place, in a state in Munich that is called Bavaria. I would say when you compare Germany to India, Bavaria is very similar to, I think, Tamil Nadu, with a lot of like industry, with a lot of production, with a lot of talent sitting there. And it's also in the southern part of Germany. So maybe I'm speaking from southern Germany to southern India, close by where you are. My name is Yip, and I have joined the blockchain space around 2020-ish, maybe a bit earlier. And I joined because I was very fascinated to hear about this vision of how technology can be used to transform capitalism. And technology, I mean, technology is thousands of years old. Fire is one of the most advanced technologies that humanity brought forward. And later, we're using what we call blockchain and crypto, and you are in your bootcamp learning about how this technology can be implemented at large scale and what are the modules for that. I'm here to speak to you more about the bigger picture, the economic and transformation, the opportunities it brings to move the world from, right now we have United Nations, different nations all across the globe, and sometimes we have regions like the G7 and so on that work together. But I actually think using technology, we can go from United Nations to United Earth, right? Because over the next decades, we most likely will also connect with and explore different or build different civilizations in other planets, right? So for us, we are on Earth. So this should be United Earth, not United Nations. We need to move like one level of abstraction higher. And before we die, this already might be a normalcy to many of us here in the room. So that's why it's very important to understand the technologies. And one of these technologies is likely going to be the blockchain. So I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can see. You can see my presentation. Are you seeing it now already?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. So the title is Own the Internet Before Someone Else Does. And Web3 is not the future, it's the now. You are already studying it. Some of you might already be transacting in it. And it's going to be shifting the way we communicate, but more important, the way we build business, transact together. So in particular, I am very known for building education programs so that women who traditionally in the Western world have been left out of the economy of the most like strategic and value adding or value creating parts of the economy. So I speak to all women in the room to when we speak about internet, we had 3 different waves. At the moment, we are onboarding the third wave. Web 1 was the time when internet helped people or communities across the globe access globalized information, libraries, digital libraries that were there, and you could all of a sudden retrieve information that you, before that existed, had to fly to, or had someone look into books and so on to give you information or print it, right? All of a sudden it was digitized, and we can communicate between different parts of the world with each other in a more or less very cost-efficient way. So the first wave of the internet was called the internet of reading. We can read things. Then the second wave of internet came. That was the time when I kind of was a teenager. That was the Web 2 wave. The cost of communication all of a sudden dropped significantly with the advent or the advancement of the internet, and then the rise of cloud technologies and mobile phone technologies. And all of a sudden, calling from Germany to India would be extremely, extremely cheap, made affordable. When before, I remember when I was a kid, calling back to Vietnam was extremely expensive, and you could only speak for a few minutes a month or something on the phone, because it was prohibitively almost expensive to do private calls between different continents. Right. And now every day, in every second, we can load so much information with each other. Pictures, videos, everything globally accessible, which had been like unthinkable before. And that is Web 2. And that came with the rise of social media. All of our data goes up online. Many of us already have, since their childhood, got their entire life story documented on one of these big social media platforms. Since the parents posted pictures when you were born, then now you started to post your own pictures and so on. That's social media. And the internet made that possible. And so the cost of information went down with the first wave of the internet. The second wave of the internet, the cost of communication went down. That's the internet of writing. You can produce your own content, you can put it up there, you can make some money with it, but it's owned by the big social media conglomerates. It's actually owned by some names that you might recognize as the Magnificent Seven. I'm going to this infinite market cap. This is typically where I go to check, like, what's happening in terms of market capitalization of assets all over the world. And you can see market cap of gold is like 22 trillion US dollars, which is the largest capitalized asset in the world. And then you can see Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Alphabet. Then you already see Bitcoin, then silver and Meta, and then finance. Saudi Aramco is oil and gas. So these are like kind of the biggest players in the global market. And what is very visible here is that mainly it's American-based tech companies who command the largest capitalizations of the world, like the largest money pots of the world. And what is so striking about it is that mainly these companies are the winners of the wave of Web 2, right? The ones who produce the chips to compute, the ones who produce the software to communicate, or the operating systems to communicate with each other, the ones that produced the iPhone, the ones who hosted like the digital libraries and now have the cloud compute, and then the search engines. So, all of these players that you see here that are so big are the ones that basically built the infrastructure for Web 2. And Web 2 is at the moment already getting to the stage of stagnation. We have maturation in the markets. Everyone is already mostly somewhat on the internet if they don't have more important problems to solve in the places where they live. Most of us own a mobile phone. Most of us, I guess, when you are learning how to code and program smart contracts, you also have a computer. So, these problems are mainly solved already. And that's when we move to Web 3. Web 3 is basically the place. How do I get forward in my presentation? Here. Web 3 is the internet where you can read and write and own. And the paradigm shift that is happening now is that wherever you are in the world, you can participate in the global economic system. So that's different than just to use it. It's completely different just to, open up a Facebook or an Instagram account and then post your content on it. And maybe if you're an influencer, you get some deals and you can do some affiliate sharing. Web3 enables an infrastructure to bring down the cost of economic transaction. And the way to think about economic transaction and ownership is the same as when you support your friends, think they have a business idea, and then they want to open an ice cream shop. And then they go around and ask everyone for a little bit of money, and you give it to them as a donation maybe. And then they open up that ice cream shop and they are successful. And then everyone is happy. But what happened with you? You gave them some money, maybe they give you some good ice cream, and then that's it. And they are very successful. And you are left out of benefiting from the value that is being created as long as this ice cream shop is alive, right? And this is somewhat a very simple example, because you might be like, why would I care? I gave my $5 and now I got a few ice creams and I'm good. We're good, right? No need more. But on global level and in the economic level, that's actually quite a big problem, because mostly people have been building these conglomerates that centralized power with Instagram, for example. You are all giving all your data, your pictures, and so on. Now, all of this is being used to train AI algorithms. And these companies get more and more market capitalization because they are seen as very attractive, because they have built these technologies using all this data and now can use these technologies to do work at a much more productive scale. So the problem is that we all contributed, and unless we have bought a stock in these companies, then we are not benefiting when their market capitalization, that is their financial and economic success, grows, right? It's not possible. And a lot of times these companies are at the stock markets already, so you can just go to your stockbroker and get a share. But these are the big ones. And then there is like millions, billions of small companies. Like you think this ice cream shop that you cannot get a stake in, because if you wanted, I don't know how the situation in India is, but in Germany it is, if I wanted to fund an ice cream stock and be an owner of this ice cream company, I would need to go to the notary and be registered in the registry as an owner and so on. And it is very bureaucratic, right? It is like, it means if you want to be part of my ice cream company, you have to fly from southern India to Germany so that we can do it together. So that's the kind of the friction we're having in the globalized economy, that communication is already globalized, but economic exchange is not globalized yet. It is globalized on a macro level, that you can send goods from India over to Germany easily, and every borders you pass, you have some kind of customs and duties and so on to pay. But in essence, the market of economic ownership and exchange is still at its very beginning when it comes to digitization and flow of money. So Web3, basically, what you are studying and building is a world in which ownership can be done ownership and exchange can be done in a very low cost and scalable way. And that's what you have already been seeing with the different cryptocurrencies that are there. And most recently, since about a year, the stablecoin boom. A stablecoin boom just enables us to transfer local currencies into somewhat of a digital, localized global currency and ship that around the world at the fraction of the cost it takes to send money with the regular bank. And that's like, the first harbinger of the global economy already. So Web3, the novelty is that ownership and economic transaction now becomes extremely cheap. And it becomes extremely cheap to the point that it's totally okay if you only own a fraction, like a 1% or 0.1% fraction of an ice cream store somewhere at the other end of the world. That before was not possible. So Web3, it's kind of these magnificent seven. It's closed empires. They can keep the gates, they lock in the data. Their ownership is limited to those who basically buy their shares in the stock markets, which not too bad, but mostly when you're not stock listed, then basically can't get access to that. You can't get access to these deal flows that can generate a lot of upside. Web3 is by design supposed to be an open distributed network. The idea is that there's an infrastructure that, as long as you know how to access that infrastructure, you can just access it, launch your different projects on it, offer participation to all participants across the globe, or maybe across the entire universe if there were other civilizations outside of Earth. And no invitation by definition would be needed if there were these different open distributed networks. So this in like an idealized world. And the idea is that then you can change the narrative. You can build your own projects, companies, you can offer them to the global markets. You're not limited anymore to the markets in India or whatever countries India has trade agreements with. But with one go, with one push of the code or launch of the smart contract, you are literally publicly accessible to everyone in the world who is part of that ecosystem. So that's the crazy thing, right? I guess you are already doing that. With one smart contract, you can be pushed on Ethereum or Polygon or wherever. You are live online, and I can actually already participate economically in your little project. So how do we go next? My screen doesn't move. So then basically, there's a second trend that is actually amplifying a lot the transition of this economic paradigm shift. And that's the shift of AI agents. So much compute power, then so much power to make everything effective, and generative AI turns production of a lot of content and anything you can think of like to zero cost nearly. The only cost you have is like literally the cost of compute. And what happens is everything you see visibly online at some point in time can be a fake. Like everything that you see, maybe 1% or even less, only a fraction, is actually real, and the others is generative AI, and we don't know what now is real and what is not real. What really is what you said and what was what your voice, like your double, your AI agent said. And so there will be a lot of confusion. AI agent systems are at the moment still in the early stages. It might still take a few. It's difficult to say because development is so rapid these days that it's very difficult to say how fast somebody will and really crack a system where AI agent systems will be autonomous and functioning at scale, and all of our enterprises will move to AI agent systems, and it's not just these demos and prototypes where everyone has their own voice agent and so on, but like really functioning AI agent systems in the world. But the key thing to learn here is that the moment AI agents and any kind of AI systems make production of anything that needs an identity to really work and not create confusion, that makes it so cheap, then the market will be flooded with everything, and we need to know the source of truth. We actually need to find ways to know who really is the owner of ABC. We really need to know when people can just, with one click of a button, fake your ownership documents of your house. We need to know who really owns this house, right? And the way it's been solved in the current systems is that people go to the registry, and then you go to your local registry, and you can see into the ledger and see who owns this house. But now we think not of a local market with local rules and regulations, national regulations in India, but we think of United Earth again. And then how do we find out who that owner is, and so on? And so people have been thinking very hardly over the past 12, 18 months about how do we build these identity infrastructures of ensuring to trace back to the source of truth, who is what. And even when we have different AI agents and thousands of AI agents working on our behalf and our company's behalf, how can we see that? So we probably, my thinking is that a world, if I were right, that Web3 will take over the world as the paradigm for economic exchange, then we basically also need Web3 to make sure that AI agents will have a home and an identity and have a currency to communicate with each other. So AI agents and Web3, they go hand in hand quite a lot, and there's different paradigms that people are looking into at the moment. So Web3, I think I spared a lot of time already explaining why Web3 will be one of the key contributors to a borderless 24/7 global economy, the more so if it's not humans answering phones anymore, but AI agent systems. And we already have quite huge stablecoin flows across the globe, back and forth. We have small-scale businesses, artists, and so on that want access and actually need access to the global markets. And the more so if their goods are digital and not of physical nature, right? If your work is like crafting digital artwork, why would you need to be restrained to your local market? You could be buying everything. If you are a local art, like a digital artworks trader or seller, why are you needed to be restricted to India? You could actually be representing artists from all over the world and have a stake in their business. And this you can do with all the smart contracts. Okay, so crypto, many people, we always hear in the world that people say, we don't need crypto digital assets, we just need the blockchain infrastructure. I actually think this is the wrong, like one of the most severe misconceptions of Web3, in my view, but there's many people who disagree, and I'm not too deep into the technical field. But from how I see it from an economic point of view, crypto is the incentive mechanism to coordinate distributed systems. So when you don't have cryptocurrencies, in this case, digital assets, then the economic incentive mechanism is missing. And you need a different kind of way to incentivize decentralized forces that need to come to some consensus, right? And here we speak about communities that need to make decisions on what is the right decision to be made when they all don't know each other. How do you kind of get that? And crypto, in my view, is actually the key point for that. And if you want to build a decentralized blockchain network and you don't have any cryptocurrency on it that is available for people to make decisions on it and has some kind of a market mechanism to it, then I don't think it works. So this may be for you just as a side fact when you are yourself reflecting about blockchain. Does blockchain need crypto? Does crypto need blockchain? And so on and so forth. My view here is, if people talk about blockchain systems but don't talk about cryptocurrencies and say there's two different things, I think there might be a misconception. Okay, here just put a quote from somebody who represents very traditional finance industry, which is BlackRock, one of the world's largest asset managers. But even him, Larry Fink, the CEO, he spoke about decentralized finance as an extraordinary innovation because it makes markets faster, cheaper, and more transparent. And you are kind of building that. My personal thesis at the moment, I'm very happy to support zebra coins. And zebra coins are basically the next generation unicorns. You know, you think of these unicorns, the Magnificent Seven that I told you about. These were like Silicon Valley-based tech startup companies that were developed by young people in their garages while they were in university like you, or dropped out of university, to build like their visions and their dreams and help build this infrastructure. But the Web2 economy, now we're at that verge where many people are building the Web3 economy, and they're building it from all over the world. So it's not limited anymore to the local cluster of Silicon Valley, but it's already globalized. You have here your own cluster, Sri City cluster, you have Bangalore, you have many different clusters all across the world where Web3 economy is being built in parallel, right? So that's the united earth kind of paradigm that we are all building, and everyone has access to the same kind of opportunities almost. And many of us in the young generation, we believe that our lifetime is spent better building something that serves humanity, that serves society, rather than just exploiting it. And this is called a zebra. Zebras are basically companies that are purpose-driven and that are focusing on the long-term value creation, that are solving some social issues rather than just improving, the next level of money generation. And zebra corns are zebras on steroids. Like, zebra corns are the ones that solve social issues at scale globally using technology. And one of these technologies is Web3. So I think all well done that you study how that works. Okay, here we just finished yesterday. There's a Brooklyn Castle retreat. I wanted to show our global brain that we built there, but it's too early. It just finished yesterday, so I don't have it ready yet. But what we do is basically, me and my company, Jedi, we identify, curate, and train these young zebra corn, not even young, some of them are a bit more life experienced and seasoned, because also it takes a little bit of life experience to understand the complexities of the world. But we bring them together and discuss technologies, discuss how we can build things that we can bring to market at global scale. It's not only Web3, it's also AI technologies, quantum computing, space technology, energy, so many different things. But I think this is it from me about today, about Web3 economy. And I hope beyond the technical sphere that you might learn from many different other keynote speakers today, you learned something a little bit about the global economy and the impact Web3 has on it. So now I'm open for any questions you may have.
Yes, so thank you, ma'am, for the session. So we learned a lot about the economy and everything. So our fellow participants now would like to ask some questions. So Shan, Ahmed, you can ask first.
Hello, ma'am. Actually, I was tinkering with a tiny on-device model to figure out users' interest without
Wow.
shipping their data anywhere. Any favorite tricks you have used to keep a model super small and under 200 millisecond on a phone, like Jade AI uses this?
Oh, we have not yet. So I'm myself curious to learn from the output of your research and your work.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, next Naseeb can come up.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
I'm going to ask, as a woman leading in both AI and Web3, what are some of major challenges you faced? And what message would you like to give to students, especially girls, who want to lead and enter in this tech field?
Yeah, I think the beautiful thing is that the industry has developed. When I started, I went to the conferences and sometimes I was the only woman. And when I'm the only woman, why would someone care about my interests, right? So the design of the conferences was done in a way that it catered more to men. One of the most striking thing is many women don't care about going to the club at 2 a.m. to network. Because they have children, they have beloved to take care of. But most of the crypto conferences back in the day, they were very much about, you go in the day, you learn about the technology from the speakers, but then at night you go to party and you close the deals. And this is very destructive to people who have family and who have to take care of family, because then at some point in time you burn out. Right, so this has shifted a little bit because most of the networking events or conferences now have women networks where the networking happens not at 2 a.m. drunk in the club, but at breakfast time, so that's more accessible to everyone. These are structural changes that have changed. The other thing is many women have brought in more women, so it's like a flywheel effect. It's not linear. You come into the conference, you like it very much, you tell your friends, and your friends happen maybe to be women. Then next time you bring them. then there's more of you. And at some point in time, interest shifts change, and women also start. Blockchain industry, the very cool thing is it really started, in 2008 with the launch of Bitcoin, and then again 2015 with the white paper of Ethereum got a second boost. Now we're another 10 years ahead. So the industry in itself is extremely young, 17 years old. Right, so there's not too much to catch up on, not too many connections to catch up on, but we are at the critical point, I think, where it will go exponential. So when you join now, then now is the time where you really still can have a lot of leverage, because later, when you join a bit later, you're just like too downstream in the industry to really create leverage for yourself and for your company. So I encourage everyone to go to the conferences now, to make a lot of friends now in the industry, because everyone who participates actively right now will grow very fast. With growing very fast, what I mean is, people who started like me 2020-ish, they by 2022, they had been kind of CMOs. Like, kind of the growth trajectory is extremely different to what I had seen in my previous career in consulting. I was with this consulting company called McKinsey & Company, which is an American strategy consulting company. And my clients, they were all like banks, like CEOs and management level from banks, insurances, and so on. I was in the financial industry. And here it would take like 18, 20 years to get into a management position. And think of Web3. It could take you 5 years max to be like from a small kind of a junior employee to becoming a management team employee, because it's more like a startup industry. And this is the extremely fascinating thing. So go in now, bring your friends so that you're not alone, to have your own network and build like a little bit of a balance to others. And also because numbers matter. And the more women come, the more the industry would change also according to the women's needs, because women cannot be left out in the sense that they are important contributors to the economy. If many of them contribute, then, the system changes by itself. That's kind of how I see it.
So in this hackathon also, like we have a special track only for women.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why did you give a special track to women?
So we analyzed, like last year we have very less representation, less numbers from women. So this time, like we wanted to increase that. So we introduced new track with the special prizes for only that track.
Amazing. That's very good. That's a good incentive.
Thank you. I think we have some questions, maybe from Prem.
Good afternoon, ma'am. So
Hi,
my
Prem.
question, yeah. So my question is like, currently I'm looking for like to grow my startup. So it is we are working on the Web3. We are trying to bring something into blockchain. So what all guidance you would like to give us so that it will be useful for me? Apart from that, how can I grow my company, like the startup, and how can I get like good connections and everything? How to come in a market totally?
Can you give me a little bit more context about your startup, the context?
Okay. So we are trying to make an blockchain which will be useful. Like it will be totally. There are n number of features which we'll be trying to make. Apart from that, we are trying to make a separate blockchain, and we will be trying to bring that soon. We are working on that. Like my backend team is working on that, but we need some time for that. It will be like kind of web 2 into web 3 and web 3 into web 2. It will be useful for like, see, I would like to give like example. If someone is not able to like in India, people don't know about web 3, some of the people. So to like log in through the metamask and everything, it has been complicated for them. So we are
Yes.
trying to make Google authentication. It will be useful so that they don't need to have a wallet. After the Google authentication, they will be getting the wallet and everything. So we are trying to make this is one of the feature, and there are n number of features.
Okay. And you just want some, okay, I want
Guidance.
some guidance. And
Yeah.
you are going to market in India or everywhere in the globe?
Actually, we are trying to market it in like globally.
Okay, I want to show you one thing. One
Yeah.
second. So the sad thing about business in general is to generate money, you need to invest some money. I haven't found a way around. If anybody else has, then please let me know. And so basically what that is, if you want to do global business development, it is important for you to identify partners in the global markets that represent you at the different conferences. And this is kind of a cost that occurs, right? Either you yourself and your team go to the different hackathons at different countries. Like here, I'm going to show you a map from, just one second. I want to show the right map here. So the blockchain world at the moment, actually, I need to share a different map. Are you seeing, share this map, share this
Yeah,
instead?
it is
Okay.
visible now.
This is the coin market cap. And this is
Yeah.
like basically the same map that I showed you about the global economy and the
Yeah.
enterprises there. I'm sharing now, this is the same, but only for the Web3 space, only for the digitally or the listed cryptocurrency cryptocurrencies in the market, right? And you saw in the bigger list, Bitcoin was on place 7 and Ethereum, I believe, was on 15. Here, you can see they are number 1 and number 2 because within the
Yes.
domain cryptocurrencies, they are very, very strong. So each ecosystem here, like Ripple, Binance, Solana, Tron, Cardano, I think you have a speaker from Polygon. Actually, he's very cool. I hope you will learn a lot from him. Avalanche, they are all like different countries. When I spoke about United Nations and I referred to Germany and India and US and so on, within the crypto world, we also have, they're not nations, but they're communities, they're projects. In the crypto world, we speak of project. And each of them has a different language. Many of them have actually different coding languages too. Right? So as humans, we speak in Hindi and then we speak in German, and I don't know what other languages we speak in the coding world. It's very similar. And some Bitcoin communities or some crypto communities have their own coding language, and others are very similar because they're EVM based, Ethereum virtual machine based. But Sui, for example, which here is on 13, they use their own language because it's called Move. It's like similar to REST because they believe that the other language is like not good enough for them. So that's how the cultures developed. And we're still like 15 years only into the Web3 market. So you will see a lot more different languages emerging. Some will be the dominant ones like English in the current global world, and some will stay like small niche languages. And that's the cultures. But then each of these have their own conferences. Right, and in their own conference, they're called ecosystems. And for example, Polygon is very strong in India because the founding team came from India. And each of them has different means to support. So what I want to show is an ecosystem map. I just picked out Solana because that's the first one I found as you gave me this question. Each ecosystem has like these divisions into who is building which part of the infrastructure. Yeah, you think of here a wallet. You are probably here, somewhere here, because you do wallet authentication and so on. And then you would look, you need to do a scan in which ecosystem, which wallets are present. Some wallets are, for example, already present in many different ecosystems. If you use, for example, Exodus wallet, that already has integrations to all. But some wallets are only present in one ecosystem. And I would go like to look at the different large ecosystems, the up and coming ones, maybe scan the top 50 in terms of market capitalization on CoinMarketCap, and check the infrastructure and the projects that are already working there and how they can partner with you. It is like kind of a low cost way because mostly they have Discords or Telegrams that you can reach out to the support team and get in touch. The next step is typically that involves costs, is to find out where are these projects present, and then basically go and see them in person, try to have a call. But in crypto world, people are very suspicious about calls of people they don't know, because recently the largest scam has been people been invited for an online meeting under the name of one of these grant giving organizations to startups, and then it was like a malware. They said in the middle of the call, they would say, hey, let's download this software. My Zoom is not working. Can we move to another software? Then they give you a link and you download, and they drain all of your assets from your computer. So one of the reasons why people have been very skeptical of having online meetings with people they don't know. So that's why it's typically recommended to then go to the different conferences. In India, you have so many of them, and go shake hands in person, build the trust, and then go to apply for grants, participate in the hackathons of these different communities, like ecosystems, win prizes, show your track record, and then from there go to market. I think that's what I wanted to share.
Yeah, ma'am, got it. Actually, we are also trying to be make our own ecosystem.
Yeah.
And apart from that, we are my backend team is working on that.
Okay, amazing. If you build your own ecosystem, the only thing you have to really take care of is the liquidity.
Yes.
Yeah, liquidity gets very fragmented. And if you have your own ecosystem and your own ecosystem currency, most of the projects, as far as I have seen, the problem was always the lack of liquidity. When you basically have your own ecosystem with your own currency, then and want to fund other ecosystem players, you typically, what you do, most of them do, is like give out free tokens to the ones building, right? You give out grants to the development teams, but the grants are worth nothing if there's no liquidity for the teams to exchange it to a currency that they basically can use, and that has a stable value. So if you can somehow solve that problem, then why not? Why do you want to build your own ecosystem?
Yes, Prema, the question is for you, like why do you want to build your own ecosystem? I think he disconnected. Let's
Yeah,
go for
ma'am,
next
there was
question.
some, sorry to interrupt. There was some network issue from my side. That's why I got disconnected. So yeah, ma'am, thank you for the guidance and everything. If I have any doubts, I will sure connect with you.
Okay, great. You're very welcome. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
yeah. Yes, thank you, ma'am.
So let's quickly, like Sai and Srinivas, like, can you finish your questions quickly? Like we are running out of time here.
Yeah, sir. I'm done with it. I'm done with it. Thank you, ma'am.
I'm talking about the next people, Sai, Srinivas, and Shahan. Please.
Actually, ma'am, I was building a privacy first proof of engagement advertisement layer. Like someone watches an ad or performs some actions, it will be recorded on chain, like Google ads. But Google has like a surveillance type of advertisement mechanism. It has a large database users, and it has user profiles, and it targets the users on a surveillance based mechanism. It's not privacy first, it uses third party data, and it's not intuitive, and the uh, advertisement cost is also very high. Okay, and the analytics are also very rough, like you get to know who and where watched your ad, but like their specific like how they are watching the ad, you like some analytics is not very clear from the Google advertisement platform, I have noticed.
Sai, like let it be like very precise. Like we are running out of time. Okay,
Okay,
just
sorry.
one.
Okay. So, could I follow up with you with a one pager to get you quick feedback? Like, what the best way to reach you? Like LinkedIn or Gmail, something, ma'am? I'm asking you.
Yeah, you can text me on LinkedIn. I will share my LinkedIn here in the chat, and then you can just add it.
Okay, I will follow up you with one page. Okay, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah. So any other questions quickly?
Nice to meet you, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
What are the
Yes.
communities or platforms you would recommend for young women to explore Web3?
Okay, so there is plenty of them, and depends on if you want to have in-person or local communities. What is kind of your need? What would you like to do with communities?
Local communities only, ma'am.
Local. So in the In the Indian market, I am not quite sure, but I'm 100% sure there is. On the global kind of markets, like this is one, SheFi is education. It's from America. Then DLP Talent is also education. This one I founded many years ago. I'm not running it anymore. It's run by the Frankfurt School of Finance, but I crafted the design. Then for hackathons, this is interesting because you are technical people. This is HerDAO. HerDAO, a few years I helped to build it, and this is a women-focused developer DAO. So they always give out grants and so on to incentivize women to participate in hackathons. There you find more the technical women. And then SheFi, HerDAO, and then there's Crypto Girls Club. And then there's Thousand Faces. So check all of them out. And I'm sure in India, there's one that's called Phoenix from a friend of mine. Her name is Jana. Phoenix DAO, I believe. Something like this. I can look it up again, but I forgot exactly the name. You might find it. And mostly what they do is organize, like, at conferences, on-site meetups, where you can connect in person, access or hack together in a team remotely and win prizes.
Yes, thank you. Let's take the last question. Srinivas, if you have any question, can you quickly shoot it?
Thank you, sir. Can AI agent act as a trusted nodes or validators in decentralized system, or does that threaten the core ideals of Web3?
Repeat your question again, please.
Ma'am, can AI agent act as a trusted nodes or validators in decentralized systems, or does that threaten the core ideals of Web3?
I would think there is this. I don't see a linkage. In my view, all these node operations on maintenance and setting up could actually all be automated, and over long or short, it will be done by automatic systems. The decentralization is more about the control, like who owns and controls all of these nodes. And the question is, if how can you basically keep it decentralized, the control decentralized?
Yeah, I think that answers the question pretty much. So these are two completely different domains. Okay, so maybe like the kind of answer you were looking, you wanted to replace the mining validator node with an AI agent, right? So that might not be possible at this moment, right? So I think if we can stop here because we already ran out of time, 15 minutes. Okay. So yes, I'll hand over to Harshini. Yeah, please continue.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for taking the time to be with us today and for delivering such an insightful and inspiring session. Your clear and thoughtful introduction to Web3, starting from the very basics, helped demystify a complex space for many of us. It was especially valuable to understand how Web3 fits into the larger global scenario where ethical innovation, decentralization, and sustainability are becoming more important than ever. Through your work and initiatives, you've shown how technology can empower people across borders and how mindful leadership can derive real inclusive change. Your perspective on combining strategy with purpose truly resonated with us. It has been an honor to host you, ma'am, and we are incredibly grateful for the knowledge and inspiration that you have shared with us. Thank you again for being with us here today, ma'am.
Thank you so much. This was very meaningful to me. I appreciate you very much and appreciate and congratulate all of you on investing your time to learn about this new economy and build it with us.
Yeah, thank you. And also thank you for partner with us. Right. And we hope that this partnership will continue in the following years also. Right.
Yeah, with pleasure. Let's stay connected, United Earth. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye, Ignat. Okay, thank you. I think that was very informative session, right? So I'll stay here for 2 minutes. If you have any feedback, just quickly shoot the feedback, or otherwise we'll meet tomorrow, 9:45. for assignment number 2.